This is Money Moves on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Money Moves coming at you as always from downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. Stormy Bonantoni, Jonathan Von Tobel with you. Wherever you're watching or listening, thanks for hanging out with us. Lots to get to. And specifically with the NFL, I know that we are still a ways away from the season, although we're in double digits now, no longer in triple digit days
Correct.
to get to the NFL season. But we've gotten a lot of news coming out of OTAs, mandatory minicamps getting underway, and specifically Dak Prescott back at OTAs, but getting ready for the season without his number one receiver, at least as of right now. George Pickens, who signed under one-year tag, has not been on site for any of the voluntary workouts for the team. Here's Cowboys head coach Brian Schottenheimer on where things sit right now.
Communicate with GP yesterday. He's got a football camp this weekend that he's doing. So communication's been good, and as you guys know, it's voluntary, and he's taking care of his business.
Of those conversations, is it giving you an indication that he'll be here when it's the mandatory session?
No, we haven't discussed that, but I expect he'll be here, and I think he's in a good spot. But again, I know he's handling his business, and I know he misses his teammates. And so we miss him too. You guys know how we feel about him. We love him, and this is just part of the business.
Sounds pretty positive, though. The expectation he's going to be out there for minicamp coming up later this month, June 16th through the 18th. And given the fact that he did sign the franchise tender, he very easily could have not signed it and then missed mandatory minicamp and not had to, he could avoid any fines in doing so. So the fact that he did sign it and is risking those fines, I think is a good sign that he's going to show up, no?
I mean, yeah, I think you're always going to be positive, right? You can't come out and say the world's on fire. So you're always going to have the positive spin from these guys when you come to the podium and talking about these situations. I mean, the importance is that he's out there. This was the fifth most efficient offense in the NFL last year. When you look at it from a points per play standpoint, expected points added per play, this was fifth according to Sumer Sports. So the Cowboys had a very strong offensive season. And for that to happen, obviously you need health, you need availability, and you need your guys to be there. And Pickens is going to be a really big part of that, especially the way that Dak Prescott has played. So I would think that you're going to espouse positivity. You get closer, we'll see what happens. We see these guys do this all the time. You know how I feel. We did this last year with all these guys, and every single time I'm just like, wake me up when we get to whenever these camps start, and then I'll start to worry maybe a little bit more.
I do get that from his standpoint, and granted, he hasn't spoken on any of this, so curious to see when we actually do hear from George Pickens and his thoughts on his contract situation and everything like that. Seems like Jerry Jones and company are standing pretty pat that they want him to play on the franchise tender, and that's just how it's going to be because that's how they're going to handle things. But you understand from his perspective, too, you see guys like Drake London and, Christian Watson this week getting their deals when he's been more productive, like he's coming off of a career year, but the Cowboys still want to say, okay, prove it to me for one more year.
Yep. Oh, and this is a team that I think has some opportunity. Win total's 9.5, but it's shaded to the under at $140 over at DraftKings. It's a division that looks somewhat winnable. We'll see what the Commanders are with some better health, especially at the quarterback position. But I think this is an NFC East that does present some opportunity for upward mobility. 3 of the 4 teams finished with a losing record. Cowboys obviously be one of them, but I think you could look at the schedule and the opportunity in front of them, think that it's going to be very important that you make Pickens happy to an extent to get him out there, because you do have a chance to not only maybe win the division, but at the very least make the playoffs.
Any early thoughts on his season-long props? He's coming off a season with more than 1,400 yards, 9 touchdowns. The touchdowns total, 6.5 for him this year. The receiving yards total, 999.5.
I mean, 1,000 yards seems like a attainable goal.
Right.
Especially when you talk about how efficient this offense was. For an early portion of the season, if you looked at the scripted plays and expected points added per scripted plays, Schottenheimer there was one of the better play callers at the beginning of some of these games as the season went along. So I think that's going to be a offense that is going to be formidable once again. So one would assume that over the course of a longer season, and if Prescott's going to be able to stay healthy, again, 30 touchdowns, 10 interceptions last year, had played extremely well, had pushed for over 4,500 yards, completed 67% of his passes, that you're going to have an opportunity as a number one receiver, should he play every game, that he's going to be able to go over that mark.
Okay, I mentioned among the guys that have gotten deals, Christian Watson. The Packers signed him Thursday to a 4-year extension, $100.5 million. Now, both of their top wide receivers locked up on long-term deals after also extending Jaden Reed earlier this offseason. The Packers were a team that were clearly derailed by injury last year. Micah Parsons, a key in that. And we did learn that he's going to start the season on the physically unable to perform list coming off of that ACL. They have a specific rule. It's like the 9-month rule that the Packers have. So October is that early target, but where will the Packers be at that point? That said, I bring it up because I wonder how much the offense now without Parsons might have to overcompensate a little bit for what might be lacking on the back end defensively.
Yeah, I mean, they certainly missed him at the end of the year.
Yeah,
so that was
0-4 when he was out.
So I don't know if that's just hey, 4 games, it just happens to pop up, or if that's actually something that's going to matter. I mean, the Watson thing's pretty interesting just because, you're kind of signing him on a projection than anything else. I mean,
Even though he's so injury riddled and hasn't had a full season yet.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just you see the upside when he's out there. I mean, even look at last year. Only 38 receptions, but over 650 yards, or just about there. Had 7 touchdowns, and that includes the wild card game. So these are some postseason numbers, but still in the games that he played, the upside was tremendous. But that's just exactly it. It's upside, and you haven't really seen it all play out. So it is interesting to see you commit the money to a guy that we know has the potential, but I mean, you're paying on potential that is yet to be reached because you just can't stay out there. And sometimes guys just have to deal with that.
Hamstring, knee, shoulder, like it felt like it was always something.
Didn't he find out one of his legs was slightly longer than the other, and that was leading to some of the injuries?
I don't remember that, but maybe. But I know the hamstring was a lingering issue. And these are issues, too, that aren't just in the NFL for Christian Watson. This is dating back to his time in North Dakota State as well. He had problems. I covered the FCS championship game where it was questionable about whether or not he was even going to play in that game because of the injury that he had dealt with that season. So,
yeah, hamstring injuries were traced to a roughly 20% strength and muscle mass disparity between his legs.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. And playing in a tough division, too, in the NFC North, where you anticipate the Lions to get back to form a little bit, hypothetically, right? The Bears are a team that, despite having a really difficult schedule, there's a lot of, based on what they did last year, there are some more expectations for what the Chicago team could be. And the Vikings, which is a team that I know we're going to discuss in a minute here, but this division on paper looks pretty tough.
Well, and remember, the Lions obviously have the easiest schedule in the National Football League. So there's a lot of people, I know I've talked to Mitch about this before.
Like the worst of first team.
Yeah, I mean, that they're going to be able to get out there and I think have a really strong season just because of what you're looking at. I mean, you look at the 2026 strength of schedule regular season, it's Lions 1, it's New Orleans 2 based on opponent win totals. So them, the Saints, and then the Bengals, I should say. Sorry if I messed that order up. Those are the 3 easiest schedules, but Lions by far the easiest. So we saw exactly what an easy schedule can do for a team like the Patriots. And the Lions are a pretty competent group themselves, especially on offense. So you talk about how tough this division is going to be. Obviously, you have to play each other. But the games outside of the division, the Lions should be able to take advantage of pretty easily.
They were a 9-win team last year and finished last in the division. So your point of the easy schedule, there's always a team every year that goes from worst to first, if not multiple. And the Lions, based on how good they were last year and still finished last in the division, certainly a contender to be one of those teams this year.
Lions are 14-1 or so to have the most wins in the NFL.
Okay. Plus 180 favorites in the division as well. But I mentioned the Vikings, and let's go down that road because there was a lot of reaction a week ago about the different experiences that Vikings quarterbacks J.J. McCarthy and Kyler Murray had.
Yeah, 9 did not handle that well.
It wasn't great. They verbalized in their media availabilities their relationship in very different ways.
What did J.J. McCarthy say? He said he's just like somebody else in a class that I had in high school or something like that?
It was like...
He's just in the room?
It feels like, like you're back in high school and you're sitting on opposite sides of the room taking in information or whatever. And Kyler's approach was, I want to help him in any way I can. We're talking through things. We're communicative, yada, yada, yada. However... Kevin O'Connell, their head coach, appears not to be all that concerned when asked about how JJ is handling the new addition and having a vet in the room.
Yeah, I think he's handled it really well. He's been great in the meeting rooms. I'm spending a little bit more time with those guys, but he's been great in the meeting room. He's been great on the grass, and as always, he's as a captain and a guy that helps lead our team. He's been phenomenal there as well.
You noticed that slip there, huh?
Previous?
Former captain? He's like, one of our captains.
Kyler is minus 1,000 at FanDuel to be the starting quarterback for Minnesota week 1.
That price does seem kind of heavy, doesn't it?
A little steep.
I mean, I think he's going to start, but I don't know. Maybe this is just, it's known that this is going to be a thing, but they're calling it, by all accounts, a competition. And if it's a true competition, which that's what they are saying it is, seems pretty steep to make a guy in a true competition minus 1,000 to start week 1. I know, look, trust me, you know me. You sat here on Sundays and watched me make fun of J.J. McCarthy quite a bit. I'm calling him 9 over and over again, right? That alter ego. And he called like a wolf inside of him or whatever it was. But minus 1,000 seems like a lot.
6-1 if you think McCarthy could be the week 1 starter. But to go back to...
No love for Carson Wentz, 71.
70-1 for Carson Wentz if you think both quarterbacks get injured in the offseason.
Okay.
The Kyler Murray portion of this, though, I have heard a lot of NFL analysts say that they think this situation in Minnesota could be a true career resurgence for Kyler Murray.
Yeah, we'll see. I think so. What happens is Kevin O'Connell just gets a ton of credit for a lot of different things when it comes to this quarterback whisperer thing. So, for example, Sam Darnold goes out there. They have that strong year. They ultimately flame out, but he gets credit for restarting the clock on Sam Darnold's career. Well, Darnold went out to Seattle and had a pretty strong year yet again. So how much is that? Or Darnold maybe just kind of figuring it out. For some reason, he gets credit for Daniel Jones as well. Because remember, Daniel Jones was on the roster for a while before then, of course, ultimately signing with the Colts. And then we know what happens with the Colts. So there's a lot of people that would point to his time with Kevin O'Connell as to the reason why he also had a career resurgence. And then now you get Kyler Murray. My tiny little question is, why are we giving credit for both of those and ignoring the lack of development for J.J. McCarthy and then going immediately to, who he wanted?
Yes, who you want, who you drafted high.
And then immediately going to, well, Kyler Murray's going to be fine. This is going to be great.
It is interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of ignoring some very obvious points.
Kevin O'Connell from?
San Diego State.
Your San Diego State Aztecs. Let's go.
One
a reminder.
Of two Mountain West head coaches? Well, I guess it's not Mountain West anymore.
Oh, God, don't even remind me. We'll go down.
Empire.
We'll go down the Pac-12 side of this in the offseason as well when we get more into college football.
Empire.
Do want to remind you, though, as we're already looking ahead to the NFL season, that Circa's contests are open here. If you want to get involved for the upcoming season, you got to have a proxy service so you can make your picks from anywhere in the country. And Winner Circle Proxy is VSiN's preferred proxy service. Take your trip to Vegas, get signed up, but play all season long from anywhere. Schedule your appointment today at winnercircleproxy.com. That's winnercircleproxy.com.
Hey, let me get your attention real quick, podcast listeners. I've got something for you that feels too good to be true. First, credit where credit is due. If you're listening to this podcast, you're already leveling up your betting game. You're riding along with our best bets and top angles. And when there's a good game on, you're probably getting involved with a few props and alt markets as well. But there's one more layer if you really want to step things up, and that's VSiN Pro. Yeah, I've mentioned it before, but things are only getting better for our pro subscribers. We just rolled out our MLB prop projections, breaking down some of the best edges across strikeouts, hits, home runs, and more. And that's on top of everything else pro subscribers already get, including public betting splits, expert picks, and betting guides across the sports calendar. If you haven't tried it yet, stop sleeping on it. You can get your first month for just $9.99 or save big with promo code POD26 on an annual subscription. Hit the link in the description and start cashing in with VSiN Pro. All right, now back to the show.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Knowledge to the test at the highest level. We got something special going on for you right now. Splash Sports offering a $1 million guaranteed contest and high stakes survivor. $1,000 to enter, $1 million on the line. You can only use a team once. Pick wisely from the group stage all the way through the knockout rounds and outlast everyone else. The $1 million is yours. Right now, new players using the promo code VSiN, that's VSIN, will get a 50% deposit match up to $100, a free Quick Picks entry up to $20, plus a 100% Quick Picks payout boost on an entry up to $20. Entries do close June 11th, though, so don't wait. Head over to splashsports.com/VSiN. Use the code VSiN. Must be 21 or older. Available in select states only. As we welcome you back here to Money Moves on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Stormy Bonantoni, Jonathan Von Tobel with you. Going to keep diving into the Stanley Cup Final. Had Game 2 last night, and boys, this series has been crazy. Nick Alberga, kind enough to come in studio with us, and you were watching the game from Stadium Swim last night. You had a great seat in the house.
I was. It was pretty spectacular, especially coming from Toronto to come down here to Circa and Stadium Swim. Quite the experience. And I guess they showed it on the broadcast too. That's what I'm hearing, that they showed Stadium. Like I was watching the Canadian feed upstairs a bit, and then I went down, watched it at Stadium Swim. But what a start to this series, right? It's been great.
How was it with it? Because it was a Vegas Golden Knights watch party as well.
Yeah.
Was it pretty dour afterward?
Yeah, people are a little annoyed, a little pissed. I'll be honest, internally, felt good. I took Carolina in 6 games. They gave me hope. I'm sorry to say that.
Played 1.5 games.
As someone who has Vegas in 6, I hate you both. Nick, by the way, great NHL betting fantasy analyst, has the Fantasy on Ice podcast with the NHL, host of Leafs Morning Take. And I know you have had some strong opinions on the success Mitch Marner specifically has had.
I don't know Mitch Marner.
I may or may not have done a hit in the second round of the playoffs where I, within 30 seconds, got a text from Nick Alberga saying, "Can you stop saying nice things about Mitch Marner?"
Wasn't even that. It's like you're gaslighting a bit. No, I this is a bigger systemic issue with this country who's unfamiliar with Mitch Marner in Toronto. That's all I'm putting out there. It wasn't more about Mitch Marner, the hockey player. He's incredible. It was more so behind the scenes, the extracurriculars. But I think 2 things along those lines can be correct. He was not very good in the Stanley Cup playoffs for the most part with the Maple Leafs. He's been excellent here with the Golden Knights. And I think as we have this conversation, Brett Howden's really stepping up.
Yep.
If Vegas wins, who's the Conn Smythe favorite right now is the question, right?
Seems to be Mitch Marner, at least on the odds board. Brett Howden available, though, at 8-1. And I know someone that JVT is really kicking himself. He didn't get down on a bet on.
They couldn't. They don't offer the adjusted odds out
Vegas
here.
is tough. Yeah, and we can't bet on DraftKings and FanDuel.
Have you guys heard about my bet that I placed before the playoffs?
No.
Carter Hart, Conn Smythe, plus 20,000 to 1.
It might be cooked now, but a couple of games ago, you were feeling pretty.
I never was going to win it. You know why?
Did you know that was a donation when you bet it? And still just wanted to have it?
It was more like I went on my fantasy pod. I said, if there's a route you want to take in your bracket with Vegas, Carter Hart. Goaltending is so big in the playoffs. He's not going to win it, and this is why I tell you why. Who votes on this award is the media.
Yep.
And we just talked about Toronto gaslighting. It is very, very likely if Vegas wins the Stanley Cup, it's going to be Mitch Marner. And I have a flyer. I have a ticket on Mitch Marner too. So I'll probably win either way. If it is Vegas, I have Anderson too. But that's why I think Carter Hart will never get this. Not to mention, even polling people around the arena when I've been to Golden Knights games earlier this season have no clue where Carter Hart surfaced from. They're just like, he's a good goalie and he's a Golden Knight. Do a Google search. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I think the problem with Howden too, because I've been big on like, dude, this guy like leads the postseason in goals. Why not?
Yeah.
But he plays on the same line as Marner, and we just saw yesterday. I mean, Marner gets an assist on one of his goals.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to escape the gravity of Marner if you're Howden.
He's Marner's been great, pound for pound. Like it's tough for me to say that as Stormy reference because of the issues, the struggles in Toronto getting over that hump. In fact, I watch a lot of Sebastian Aho right now, and all I could do watching the game last night prior to the comeback is like, he's lucky he's not a Maple Leaf, guys, or in a big media market like in Canada. I think he'd be taking a lot more heat, but Aho's got to step up moving forward in this series. This is a big-time goal from Jarvis. But yeah, when you look at the Conn Smythe odds, I think it's pretty short right now. I think I agree with you. I think Hart's probably out of the running, but I think Marner's at the forefront. And there's going to be a late charge here from Howden. I still wouldn't discount Jack Eichel either.
Yeah. That point you made, though, about Aho, I think is well taken. That top line in general, right? Yes, we've heard questions be asked to Rod Brind'Amour about them, but it hasn't had nearly the blow up coverage as you would expect in some other places like that.
Well, put it this way, and I hate to correlate everything to the Maple Leafs, but that's sort of in a vacuum what Mitch Marner looked like as a Maple Leaf in the playoffs. I'm not here to rip all over Marner. He's been outstanding. Obviously, they might win the Stanley Cup. He's been an integral part to that, but to give you an understanding of how it was for Mitch Marner in Toronto, not to place all the blame on him. I think it goes across the board. The Matthewses of the world, Tavares, Riley, all their big boys struggled to persevere. I think a lot of what you see from Sebastian Aho right now is just the inability to get things cooking. That's a big time goal. And I still think if Carolina is going to win this series, they need some more from their top line, includes Svechnikov too.
What do you think of the way these games have been played in terms of scoring? Because Stormy and I have been going at it. I
deserved better on the under yesterday, and I'm ticked off.
Well, and to be fair, like at the beginning of the series, because I keep making fun of her that I was dead right, because a lot of people like these games under, and I put out a devil's advocate case for these games to be high scoring, and we have seen that now through 2 games. But what have you made of these first 2? Does that sustain itself when we come back here?
I think personally speaking, when I bet on the Cup final specifically and series in general, you tend to go towards the under later on in the series, and I think we will see that. I will be honest, I identify in the series, I'm like, the under makes a lot of sense. You have 2 really good defensive teams, and the way the goaltenders are playing, I probably was looking more at the unders. Granted, I didn't play the over-under in either one of the first 2 games. I'm a bit shocked at how open it's been. I think even Carolina, from a puck possession standpoint, that hasn't been the bigger story. Like, I think Vegas has been, so relentless and persevering and just resilient in the way they operate, that you sort of get that feel that Vegas is going to find a way to push through here. Although I did pick Carolina, it's been a pretty impressive story. And, I would think and anticipate as the series continues, maybe into Vegas here for 3 and 4, we don't see as much offense.
And despite both the first 2 games going over, we're still seeing 5.5 as the consensus total going ahead to game 3. There is 1.6 out there, juice minus 120 on the under. But let's go to game 3. How do you think things play out tomorrow?
See, that's a really good question. It's so difficult when you answer that knowing who you bet on, right? Like my head's saying Carolina and 6, but the more and more I watch this Vegas team, I'm like, I don't know if I believe in Frederik Andersen. I just don't. Yeah. And we all know what he's been going through the last little while, the loss of his agent, Claude Lemieux. And more so, like, just this is pretty big. For as much as I talk about Marner, Freddie Andersen's had his demons in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and he's been much better. So to answer your question, because I like Carolina to win this series, I think they've been a really, really good road team all postseason long. I would not be stunned if they go into T-Mobile tomorrow night, play your prototypical Canes game. We really haven't seen it through 2 games in this series, and find a way to win with the under being a factor in that game.
I got nothing.
Wemby. Let's go to Wemby.
Yeah, do you want to? Do you have anything for the NBA Finals?
No, I'm a casual basketball guy, I'll be honest. Since the Raptors won the championship, I don't care anymore.
Okay.
For 30 years, I don't care anymore.
You care for a series in this postseason?
I will say I watch enough basketball to think of watching this final. I'm like, okay, it's going to be a walk for the Western Conference. And then I watch game 1 in the belief of my boy OG Anunoby, former Toronto Raptor who won the title there. It's getting 2019 Raptors vibes with me. I know there's no star injuries that maybe led or contributed, I would say, to that championship win. But the Knicks, they got some serious belief, and defensively, it's all about that too, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's pretty good comp, because you go through those Raptors went through an Eastern Conference that wasn't particularly strong. Not much was expected of them other than maybe winning a playoff series or 2. They had to get some dramatic victories like the Knicks did, including that Philadelphia 76ers win, right? And then in game 7, and then now here you are against the perceived power. And like you said, there's injuries for the Warriors.
Couple of them.
But yeah, right. But the difference is, like, this Knicks team is they just don't die. Kind of like that Raptors group a couple of years ago.
I still can't believe the Knicks are in the NBA final. Yeah. Like, it's been so long, and I think this is so great for the NBA. I know we're here to talk about hockey, but that Wemby cat, like, shout out to that dude who ran on the court, man, because he got the selfie of a lifetime. I know he can't go back to that arena, but he got Wemby's chest in that selfie.
Mostly neck,
That dude is like a freak, though. Like, I watch basketball. I'm like, how the hell do you guard Victor Wembanyama?
Wait, before you go, because I do have to go back to hockey really quickly, because Stormy knows my quiet passion here. I have bet the field for the first overall pick in the NHL draft. What's going to happen?
Gavin McKenna.
It's going to be McKenna?
The Leafs had the first overall. You guys didn't ask.
It's
I would be shocked if it wasn't Gavin McKenna. And then John Chaika, who's the GM of the Leafs, just spoke today at the Combine. He was just glowing over this kid. Went to Whitehorse to visit him. Loves his family. Resilient because he's from a small town. Some other bets you can look at too, since we're on that note and we got to fly here. But Manny Malhotra is the head coach now with Vancouver. Caleb Malhotra is his kid. And some people wondering, drawing lines to maybe him going to his dad's team in Vancouver, number 3. Okay.
Oh,
so I saw McKenna was like meeting with the people from Vancouver the other day, so that ended up being a thing. Okay, good to know. And I do want to say as well, if you do check out Leafs Morning Take, Nick has been getting unbelievable guests.
Not bad, eh? Gerard Gallant the other day?
Had Gerard Gallant. Yeah. He was the first to get Bruce Cassidy after the firing, which is awesome. I saw this week Jackie Redmond, too. Yeah. Like, you guys have been crushing it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I love coming down here to Circa, guys.
Yes.
VSiN. We love VSiN.
Love getting you in studio. Thank you for doing this. We appreciate it. I know you've got a busy couple days, and you're not even sunburned from the pool, which is very impressive. We got some side here. Stick around, though. Coming up next on Money Moves, more on the NBA Finals. VSiN's own Zach Cohen going to join the program.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
We're just talking a lot about the Stanley Cup Final as we roll on here on Money Moves, and there are a lot of parallels, I think, between what we've seen in the Stanley Cup so far and early on in the NBA Finals. Just like the Canes, Spurs were favored in game 1 at home, give up a lead and lose. Just like the Canes, slightly heavier favorites in game 2 as they try to bounce back. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you. Grateful to have Zach Cohen join us now on the Progressive Guest Line. VSiN NBA analyst, senior editor, host of Hardwood Handicappers. And let's talk through it a little bit. So just like the Canes, they bounce back and ultimately win game 2 out there today as they are favored to do so. 6.5, that number, Zach.
Yeah, I mean, I think they will bounce back and win this game. I don't know that I'm rushing to lay 6.5. I feel like this Knicks team is really competitive. I think that they are very good at playing games the way that they want to play them. They can slow you down. They can try to out-execute you in the half court. I don't see them kind of going away the way other teams in this specific situation have in the past. I mean, even in the prior rounds against the Sixers, against the Cavaliers, you saw New York was kind of zigzag proof. So I don't really know that I'm rushing to take San Antonio at the number.
All right, so how do we play this from a side perspective? Then I think that you've got a parlay you can put together here that you can tell us about, because I think it dives into a pretty interesting dynamic of this game, which is the role of De'Aaron Fox. And I thought maybe Dylan Harper could eat into some of this, but do you think that's not going to be the case?
I think that even if Harper eats into it, there's still going to be minutes for Fox. I think you still need what Fox can do on the court, which is go out and create offense for himself. I think he's still going to play 30-plus minutes, even if Harper gets more minutes than he did in game 1. I think that the big takeaway I had from game 1, it wasn't that I was mad that Harper didn't play the fourth quarter. It's more that he just didn't ride the hot hand in that game. I feel like you have 3 really good ball handlers on this team in Castle, Fox, and Harper. Whoever's playing the best of them should always be on the floor to end the game. I don't think you could kind of make adjustments based on your preseason or pre-game priors. I think if any of these guys has it going, you need them on the floor late.
What did you see from Victor Wembanyama in game 1, and how do you think he responds? Because, I mean, you look at the stat line at the surface, and it looks like, okay, yeah, he had a fine game, but then you see all the missed shots and the way Karl Anthony Towns played him. What should we expect from him now in game 2?
I agree to see Wemby catching the ball in much different positions than you saw in game 1. I think there's going to be way less pick and pops, way less giving the ball to him at the 3-point line. I think they're going to be way more pointed in trying to get him the ball at the elbows. And I do think that Wembanyama is going to have a much better game in this one. Like the last time we kind of doubted him and talked about him the exact same way we're talking about him right now, it was after game 5 against OKC. Yeah. And he came back and played really, really well in game 6. So I expect them to be a lot better. And I do think that he's going to have a really good game. I have him to go over 3.5 assists in this one, because I do think he's just going to be operating as kind of a playmaking hub at the elbow a little bit more than we saw in game 1. And I do think that we're going to see the Spurs shoot a little bit better than 11 for 43. I don't think this is a good 3-point shooting team. I think we've talked about that all throughout the season when I've come on. Mm-hmm. One of the reasons I was a little bit lower on San Antonio than most is I didn't believe in their 36% 3-point shooting from the regular season, but I think it's closer to 30 than 25. And I feel like some of these players that are going to be left open tonight will actually make the Knicks pay.
All right, let's talk about a couple of things here. First off, big picture with this series. One of the things that I can't get out of my head is watching this Spurs team on offense, and it ties into Fox here a little bit, but do they have anybody that can attack Jalen Brunson on defense? I mean, I keep going back to the Hawks series where CJ McCollum was cutting them up. He is their biggest liability on the floor, but it doesn't seem like they have anybody that can go after him.
I think that these guys can. I mean, I think that all 3 of the guards can get after Jalen Brunson, and that's why I'm a little bit more confused why we didn't see them reversing the ball a little bit, running more actions to just kind of bring Brunson up and just trying to get him on any of those guys, even if it's Castle. Like, I want all 3 of those guards to attack Brunson. I also want them to do it on the defensive end. I feel like if Brunson is actually banged up, you want to pick him up close to half court, make him travel very far for his buckets, make him feel the lower body injuries that he felt in game 1. I just think that this is a guy that pretty clearly didn't look healthy, even as he kind of torched them in the fourth quarter. I feel like you need to test that in every way imaginable.
Yep.
Breaking down the NBA Finals with VSiN's own Zach Cohen. Looking at the series price right now, New York goes from a dog that was getting played, right? We saw that number, it was minus 205 for the Spurs, get driven down to as low as minus 180. But the Knicks now are your minus 140 favorites. Does that pricing seem about right to you? How do you see the series shaking out the rest of the way?
I thought it was a little bit of an overreaction unless the odds makers really do think that New York's going to win this game. Like if you want to take the Spurs, take it now. If you want to take the Knicks, wait until after game 2. That's the way I feel about it. I think that this is going to be a game that San Antonio is probably going to win. I really feel pretty strongly about the Spurs finding a way tonight. It's just the number that I don't feel good about because I've said it before. Like I said it with JVT and Kelly on Hellwood Handicappers, but you could be up and doing everything right against this Knicks team as they did in game 1. They just don't ever go away. They can very quickly get games back on track. And even if you're up 10-12 in the third quarter, fourth quarter here, wouldn't want to be laying a number against the Knicks. They're going to try to fight back. I think the Spurs will get in the win column, tie it up at 1-1. Then you go to game 3, where I think there's probably the biggest distraction imaginable for New York in the building that they do not need right now. But I do think this is going to be really interesting to see. I think that the Spurs are a good bet at plus 120.
All right, I do my finals MVP ladder, and my leader right now for finals MVP is Karl Anthony Towns. Would you agree, and how have you looked at some of those odds, and if there's a play to be made after game 1?
Yeah, I 100% agree, and I actually think Towns is still a good price at 11-1 or whatever you can get it at. I think that this is a guy that, like, if the Knicks are going to win this series, it probably means he held his own against Victor Wembanyama, and if he does that, he's going to be in the conversation. I mean, Brunson kind of stole the headlines away from Cat in game 1 with that 13-point fourth quarter, but Cat was the better player throughout the entirety of that game. And third quarter, they do not come back without Karl Anthony Towns being aggressive on the offensive glass and doing really good work on both ends of the floor. I think defensively, he was tremendous in game 1.
If you think that the Spurs can win it all, they're about the same price as Victor Wembanyama for MVP, so you might as well just take the Spurs in general. I was curious, though, as we continue down the MVP board, Josh Hart at 150-1. I know he only had 3 points in game 1, but he was doing everything else imaginable for this team. If he actually had some point production, I mean, should his number just be that long, I ask?
It probably shouldn't be that long. I don't think he's going to win. I just feel like every time I think about this exercise, I go back to the Curry Iguodala thing, and I feel like everybody that voted for Iguodala came out a few years later and regretted it. And I just don't think if it's close between a player like Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson that historically you want to give it to a player like Hart. He is great. Like I said it yesterday, like nobody on the court wants to win as badly as Josh Hart does. And the way he impacts the game in every single way imaginable is insane. Like you could look at his stat line of 15, 6, and 4 last night or game 1, and it looks like, you know, he had points, assists, rebounds, something, but like it was 15 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals. It's a crazy stat line.
Speaking of him, by the way, are we going back to the well here? I think I am. Over 1.5 made threes. Yeah, last game, it was minus 155. You're looking at like pick minus 110 at some spots right now for him.
I luckily did not take that in game 1. I still think there's going to be a game in this series where he knocks down 5 or 6. Like the 2 plays I have for Hart are for him to lead the series in threes, which is not going to happen. And I do have him to average 2+ made threes for the series. So one good game and he's kind of right back in it. But I do think there's going to be something where he goes 5 or 6 threes and wide open jumpers and does end up having a big game. I think that's more likely to happen in the Garden. And I would say like game 4 is my estimate for when it's going to happen. But we'll see. I do think that he's going to have a big moment at some point, though.
All right, before we get you out of here and wrap, last couple of minutes, I have A.J. Debonsa at 25-1 to go third overall. He's down to 15-1, so we've got some good closing line value here. Any new thoughts on the NBA draft? We do have markets up now for the top 5 selections.
I was just going to say I saw that at Caesars that they have 1 through 5, so I'll be starting to dive into those a little bit. I don't think that I have anything new. I still think it's going to go kind of the way that we've been envisioning with like Debonsa going number 1, Peterson 2, Boozer 3. But we'll see. I do think that we kind of got a hand tipped with AJ Debonsa out there at the French Open in Francis Tiafoe's corner. That's a DC guy. So I do believe that there's maybe a DC connection now.
Oh, that makes sense.
Do you have anything on the French Open? I guess while we have you, it's out the corner of my eye, the earlier today highlights.
Yep.
I'm happy you asked because I wanted to get this out there before it moves. I have over 35.5 games in the men's final between Alexander Zverev and Flavio Cavalli on Sunday. And the reason I'm happy you asked is because it's 35.5 at DK right now. It's like 37.5 games everywhere else. Ooh. I think you should jump on the over if you can. And you might even be able to play a middle or something if you want. But I think over 35.5 games is the right play there. I'm about to go do my write-ups for vsin.com on it. I'm about to go do some videos for it for YouTube at vsin Live, so follow us there if you want to. But I do think it's going to be a longer match than people expect because Zverev is the sport's ultimate choker, and he's been gifted an opportunity to go out and win his first Grand Slam with nobody in front of him, and I just don't think he's going to make it easy on himself.
Hell yeah. I love it. Sneaking into French Open play. Beautiful stuff, Zach. Thank you for this. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Zach Cohen. Yeah, and make sure, obviously, vsin.com, check it all out. He'll have the write-up in a little bit, and he's been doing it daily for the NBA Finals as well. Also, while we have you, reminder to check out Just Win Bets, baby, your premier source for daily sports betting picks. They're breaking down the data so you can bet with confidence across the entire sports calendar. Scan the QR code or visit justwinbetsbaby.com today and start betting smarter. Just Win Bets, baby. The name says it all.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Championship season is here, and VSiN Pro can help you bet it smarter. For a limited time, lock in our early bird pricing on the football season special for just $175. The sooner you sign up, the more value you get with full access to everything we do across every sport through the Super Bowl. That means coverage throughout the NBA and Stanley Cup Finals, Belmont Stakes, the MLB right now, plus early access to our 2026-27 NFL betting guide coming June 22nd to help you attack futures, win totals, division races, and the upcoming season. You'll also get daily best bets, real-time bet splits from DraftKings and Circa, AI-powered prop projections, 24/7 video on the VSiN Watch app, and season previews for all things college football and next year's NHL, NBA, and more. Head over to vsin.com/subscribe now to get signed up. That's VSIN.com/subscribe. You hear how slow I said division races that time?
Well, I don't know why that's bothering you so much.
I don't know. Can you say it easy?
Division races?
All right.
Can I read?
When you do it like that.
Can I speak my native tongue? Yes.
Speaking of reading, we had a funny email that we got yesterday, which if you ever want to chime in on anything on the show, you can tweet at us at MeJVT, at Stormbond and Tony, or we've got the moneymoves@vsin.com email. And Rich sent us a note.
Your dad?
No, this is not a Rich Bonatoni email this time around. I don't love you, Dad, but I don't know if he knows how to use his email properly. But because I was eating a donut yesterday on the program, said Stormy likes to torture JVT by hammering treats while he's trying to be good. Gotta love it, so mean. Because as we know, JVT has been a workout fiend for the last however many months. And the two of us have a bet going, a friendly wager on the Stanley Cup Final, because JVT has the Canes minus 1.5 games. He believes Carolina is going to handle this thing. I have Vegas in the Cup Final. He said, how about this for a punishment on your show bet? If the Knights win, JVT has to eat donuts during the show. And if Carolina wins, I have to eat a salad.
Well, donuts is a very loaded word. Like I have to eat 6? That sounds insane.
I think it could be good. Good for you.
That sounds terrible.
I think it could be good for you. I actually felt bad. So JVT, one of the first day that he took a cheat day from his diet and the 75 hard thing he did, he had his eyes on this blueberry fritter.
It was so disappointing
for a long time. Yeah. And then you finally got it and you were so let down, and you were like, it's too sweet, it was too much, it's not good.
But I don't think it was made well. I think it was a little overcooked. I don't know. Yeah, it was very disappointing. I'm not a big sweets guy. You and I actually, here in the gift shop, there's a lot of stuff that is sold, obviously. Yeah. But one of the new additions is the closest it can be described as is like a Nerd's gummy cluster thing for those who have not seen it or whatever it is. But
it's in the shape of like an apple ring or peach ring.
But Stormy got all excited because she likes those things for breakfast every single day.
Okay, that's a bit of an exaggeration.
So I bought some to share with you, but I also bought it because if you read the fine print, it's like vegan. It's made with, you get like 9 grams of fiber. It's pretty, but it was pretty good.
It's like made with vegetable stuff.
Hell yeah.
I read it and I was like, you should not have shown me this before I ate it. But I will admit, it actually was pretty good.
I think the punishment for you should just eating a balanced breakfast for the entire week.
I had a protein bar today.
That's not a balanced breakfast.
It's enough. Let's get into some of the best bet stuff. To recap for me yesterday before we look ahead to today, Carolina Moneyline ends up getting home, which again, in ridiculous fashion. They were down 2-0 10 minutes to go, end up storming back. The crazy no goal on the ice challenge really changed the trajectory of this for Vegas. So as a fan, it hurt me. It did at least help me not have a total bad losing day, because I also had the under, which was a terrible beat. Again, it is 2-0 with about 10 minutes to go. That should not go over 6. But as you like to say, hockey is a stupid sport sometimes. We got a stupid game yesterday. Tomas Hertl never stood a chance yesterday, which was a little bit disappointing. I think I need to avoid shots on goal props in general, just given the shot suppression that we have seen in this series so far.
Sure.
And the way that they're graded, quite frankly, is a little bit frustrating. But 1 and 2 for me yesterday. So losing day, not ideal. We'll see if we can push it forward. Still a handful of pending bets. Logan Stankoven for most shots on goal, 16-1. Jack Eichel -1.5 points against Seth Jarvis. Again, another annoying thing. The Jarvis ends up having the game winner. So right now they are equal in terms of points for the series. Pending for the NBA Finals over 5.5 games. Pending Golden Knights to make the final. To win the cup. And Mitch Marner for Conn Smythe.
All right.
I'll get to my best bet for tonight after you do your recap.
Okay, got it. I have nothing to recap.
Oh, really?
No.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, then let's go to tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I have a baseball bet. This is how bad it's getting for me that I'm diving into the trenches of MLB, because it is about to be the time of year where we are heavy Major League Baseball, daily betting games, and talking NFL futures. That's the life that we have upon us. So let's enjoy this NBA and NHL postseason while it lasts, ladies and gentlemen. But I did bet the Rays money line -130 here at Circa this morning against the Marlins. I know that the Rays have struggled the last couple weeks. I think they should work it out with Drew Rasmussen on the hill today. Had a bad day his last start against your beloved Angels, but should come into this game with at least some confidence given his personal success against the opponent. 3-0, 2.30 ERA, his 7 starts against Miami this season as a whole. 4.2, 3.36 ERA, the expected ERA even better. We love that baseball savant page. There's a lot of red on it, which makes me feel good about where he's at right now. And the Marlins bats just went off for 8 home runs against the Nationals. I just don't see that happening against Rasmussen in this spot. Miami on the other side with gusto. Only had limited action, 3 runs on 5 hits in the 3 innings he's played. Likely a heavy bullpen game. So give me the Rays on the money line, -130 again here. And because you want me to get more invested in the NBA, I played a player prop on Karl Anthony Towns over 10.5 rebounds tonight. He's gone over in 4 of the last 5, 6 of the last 8 in this one. He is very prone to double-doubles and double-digit boards, so hopefully he can get it done again today.
All right. For me, tonight, we've got 2 things. Actually, 3. I added 1 late, so I'll just verbalize this one. But yesterday, added the Spurs-Knicks total over 214.5. So we're in a good position from a number standpoint. We talked about it yesterday. We're up 216.5. To reiterate, look, I think there were a lot of indicators that you could probably get over the total here today. 97 possessions, 98 possessions for the 2 teams in the first game. Some regression to the mean when it comes to 3-point shooting as well. Both shooting at 30% or under. So one would expect that finds its level at some point as well. The free throw, the free throws were really there. And so if you get a small adjustment in terms of the way this game is being called, pace stays the same, efficiency finds its mark, then all of a sudden you're talking about a game that can go over the total, especially when you talk about that adjusted number of 214.5. I do still think, because you'll probably get some buyback at some point here, like 215.5, 216, still playable here, but we're up towards of 217 at a couple of shops. Actually, look at this, it's 217.5 now. Wow, This thing's really moving up. And then the Knicks plus 6.5. We'll go here. I'll just call it a play of principle, but I have weak principles, so I'm sure I'll get absolutely wrecked here with them falling into the trap of this spot. Again, teams have covered about a 66% clip in these situations. The Spurs, that would be losing your first game at home, coming back and molly-whopping the other team, but I think this Knicks team is too good to fall into that trap, so we'll do that. And I did not put this in the rundown, but I added it as we were talking with Zach. There's a reason why I asked him about it, too.
Josh Hart
over 1.5 threes. We'll do it again. -115 is what I played. So let's see if Josh can get it done today.
I guess the follow-up to that would be, are they going to play it the same way? Because then he's not going to have those opportunities. Like, how do you see it playing out? Okay.
I would assume that maybe you start to see like Wemby on him a little bit more, because Wemby started guarding Cat and it didn't really work. So I don't know. I think it goes back to what we've talked about a ton of times, which is there's not really many levers that we're talking about pulling here for the Spurs that I think are going to be able to handle Cat. Maybe you start to see some Luke Cornett, Victor Wembanyama lineups, so like the double bigs. Maybe that'll help you out a little bit more. So maybe that's something worth monitoring, but I'll give it a shot. We'll see if they start playing off a Hart and see if we can get a couple of threes for Josh tonight.
You see some of these prices for Game 3 coming up at MSG?
No, like tickets or
tickets, get-in prices. Ridiculous. I saw this. So Dan Wetzel was the one that tweeted out just kind of like the screenshot of the prices. The cheapest one I see available is in the $8,000 range. The most expensive in the $53,000 range.
Okay.
And so, I mean, is this why we're seeing so many Knicks fans at the Spurs game? Because it's cheaper to get a ticket and fly all the way out there than to just go to a game at MSG?
You know what's funny is, what was the chant I heard? There was a chant that was like, you could hear it in the broadcast for game one. It was like a Knicks chant. And I was like, wow, that's pretty strong.
But I mean, truly, like you can probably get a flight and get a hotel and tickets to the game for cheaper than to go to the game at MSG based on these prices.
I know this is what you care about. Will the 2 OnlyFans chicks be at the games in New York?
Only if like someone's paying for them, obviously.
Well, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have already.
You think they'll be there?
I don't know if it's a lucrative business or not.
What do you mean?
Like are they famous? Like, did they get a lot of money? I know that just from the series that has been there, but I don't know.
I know when Dustin was filling in for you the other day, I was like, I don't even know their names. He's like, I know their names. So
well, yeah, that's Dustin.
People
I don't know if they're actually making money from this.
Getting down with you have to be, right? With all this publicity, I would imagine, yes.
I mean, do you? Like, I know that they're the OnlyFans chicks, but like, I don't know who they are or what their names are.
I don't know, but I am so glad that the show is over, so we don't have to continue this conversation.
A lot of perverts out there.
That said, obviously, plenty more angles on both the NBA and Stanley Cup Finals coming up when Mitch and Paulie get set here with Follow the Money.
How many of our audience
Julian
members do you
Edlow,
think
DraftKings is going to be on there. Brian, what?
Some of our audience members have probably got to have been subscribed to them over the last couple of days, right?
Oh, God. All right. Bye, everybody. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your day. Good luck with the bets.
Out there.
And keep it locked on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Control yourself.
Jeez.
Fluid.